I was definitely raised in a family where academics were really important. So I have an older brother, and we were both, I think, taught from a very early age that school was something we should care about. I think something that I appreciate a lot about my family is that I think we were also taught that things outside of school are really important as well. So I was always very supported in playing soccer and doing lots of other extracurriculars and spending time with my friends. And I think that's actually something that Harvard values a lot, which I saw once I got there and through the application process, that it's not just the smartest people that they can find that they're letting in, but it's really well balanced people who are going to contribute to the community. I grew up playing in Utah, where the talent pool is a lot smaller than in Division One. So I definitely didn't know what to expect when I went for my freshman year. I had a lot of success my freshman and sophomore year in terms of playing a lot. I was a goalkeeper, so the playing time is pretty skewed towards one player. So I had the opportunity to play in a lot of our games. My freshman year in particular, the team was really successful, so we won the Ivy League. We had an awesome senior class that year who were great leaders and really included the freshmen. And I definitely look back particularly on the freshman year where I had no idea what to expect. I showed up and really got to play a lot, and the team was really successful. And at that point, at that age, soccer was still like my whole life. And I really look back on that time as like, I don't know if after some of those games, like the way that you feel when the whistle blows, I'm not sure I'll ever experience like that level of like elation or happiness like ever again. Those were some really, really like special times. I could never have imagined how that season was going to go and how I would have felt at the end of it. Like I just felt like I was on top of the world. Like, you know, I got to play, I was loving school, loving being at Harvard. It just felt like a dream come true. Within the first couple of weeks of junior year, like I said, I was a goalkeeper, so I got kicked in the head and got a minor concussion. So I had to take a few weeks off of playing. And during that time, obviously the other goalkeepers that were there got the opportunity to play. And so slowly, as I started coming back from that injury, it evolved from I was injured and that's why I wasn't playing to some of the other players were doing well and I didn't have the chance to like fully win my spot back. It's really hard, particularly because that conversation isn't always as straightforward as someone else is doing this thing better than you. And so if only you could be better at that thing, then you would play. It's a lot more complicated of you're not doing anything wrong, but they're also not doing anything wrong. And so we can't take this opportunity away from them. And so I think I definitely struggled, and I know all my other teammates in a position who aren't playing struggle with the same thing, which is going to the coach and saying, what can I do differently? Like, what do I need to do to play? And you're almost certainly never going to get a straight answer because it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong that you need to improve. I think that's something that a lot of athletes, and particularly high achieving athletes like the ones at Harvard, struggle with, is we're always used to being told, if you can do this, you can have this opportunity. And I think that's not always the case in sports. It's like sometimes it just doesn't work in your favor. And I think I was not used to things being out of my control. It was always like, if you just work hard enough, you can always have an opportunity, or you'll always get to play, or you'll always get a good grade. And that just wasn't the case. The back injury at the end of my junior year was sort of accumulation of a long time of playing goalkeeper. And it became clear that there was the potential for me to injure myself really, really badly if I continued training in the goal and playing every day on those astro pitches that are quite hard on your body. And so, through lots of conversations with my family and with the coaching staff and with the training staff, decided that it was not a good idea for me to continue to play in the goal. And so I think I had a conversation with myself, which was like, if I can't play in the goal, then what are my options? And sort of landed on this plan to try to become a field player. I just wanted to be a part of this whole thing, and I wanted to play. So I kind of recentered myself around like focusing on how much I love to play and going out in my final year, giving myself the best chance to succeed and enjoy myself as much as possible. Um, I'm not gonna pretend like it was my only goal was just to have fun and like see what happens. I definitely wanted to be successful and I wanted to play. And so my whole focus was around giving myself the best chance to be successful because I knew that I would enjoy myself the most if I got playing time. So I really focused on like controlling what I can control, and everything outside of that. Like as soon as I entered into my senior year, I just thought like I'm gonna set myself up for success, to play as much as possible over the summer, get as fit as possible, and then whatever happens after that, like I'm just gonna focus on the things I can control. Particularly for college athletes, like at that time, soccer had been my whole life. And so it's a huge part of my identity up until that point. It's a big part of, I think, how we define like our self-worth and our value, as if we're succeeding in sports, then we're a success. And if we're not, then we're not a success, right? I mean, I think that there's so many aspects of this that impact your mental health. So there's a lot of the stuff around like, this is how we define like our self-worth, and so much of my identity is tied to soccer, particularly at that age where like soccer gave me so much. Like I got the opportunity to even go to Harvard because of that, and so when that stops going well, I think it forces like a big reckoning of, are you going to continue to let this define you, or are you going to start to say, you know what, I'm a person outside of this, even if I'm not playing much, right? I just wanted to be a part of this whole thing and I wanted to play. So I kind of recentered myself around like focusing on how much I love to play and going out in my final year, giving myself the best chance to succeed and enjoy myself as much as possible. I think there's been a lot more focus on mental health, like in sports. And I think from what I saw at Harvard, my own experience and a lot of my like, teammates and then a lot of my peers, I think it's really, really important, and particularly at that age where there's so many other like, things going on in your life. You're going through a lot of changes, like you're having to make big career decisions and big life decisions. Sports should be something that is adding value and making you happy, and giving you a great community, and teaching you the value of like staying active and all those things. It should not be like an additional stressor or something that is making you feel worse about yourself, or like this is even a harder journey than it needs to be. What I would say is like it's really hard, like what you're going through, but I wouldn't like take it back and I wouldn't change that experience. I think what I went through that year was like reorienting how I viewed like my self-worth and like what I wanted from my life. So it switched from being like my main part of my identity was being a soccer player and that's all I wanted, to there's actually a lot more out there that I think I want to be doing, and soccer is this wonderful thing that's given me so much in life, and I want to love playing soccer and I want to continue to do that. But ultimately, I think it helped me like reorient myself, and then eventually from there after Harvard, like moved to Africa, lived there for a long time, have this really great career in development, and so I think that junior season was really a big part of that like evolution. Yeah, I'm now 27 and doing my MBA at the University of Cambridge in the UK, and they have a bit of a different structure with university sports that doesn't relate to your NCAA eligibility. So I've had the chance to play for the university, which has been really, really fun. And so, yeah, I guess I thought like when I tell this story about my experiences at Harvard, for a long time I framed it as like the end of my soccer career and what happens beyond that. And I guess it's never the end. So even if you have like whatever experiences along the way, like you never know when another opportunity is going to come up where you're going to get to to play or to be involved in something like this.